Then we can post this once we.
Okay. Well, thank you all for taking the time to to tune in. I'm going to go to screen share here so that I can bring up. I do have a set of PowerPoint slides. Nothing too fancy here, but we'll get things started. And hopefully I'll see if somebody tries to come into the meeting. I'll get a notice here. So multitasking. So as you can see, our goal here tonight is to go over your role and responsibilities as a as the sponsor of a new member. And thank you very much for bringing people in. I think both of you have brought in multiple new members in the
Yeah.
past year, right? Patty, do you know
Yes.
about how many you've brought in?
Oh gosh. Maybe 5,
Mhm.
6.
Yeah. I remember seeing your name multiple times, and Doug's about double the size of his club on his own.
Yeah, I the last couple of years I've had 5 or 6, I guess. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, at least. But so you guys are doing a good job, and hopefully those members are sticking with it, because that's kind of the primary reason that we decided to do this new member sponsor just presentation, is because we want to make sure that those members do stick with Lions. Right now at the district level, we have about an 80% 1-year retention rate, which 80%, hey, that sounds okay, except that means 20% are dropping within a year of starting. So that's 1 out of every 5 members that we're bringing in, we're losing. So that really hurts. Retention is a big issue for us in our district, even outside of just first-year members. But if we could drop our overall retention losses, or our losses, if we could boost our retention rate of members, we could be growing our membership in the district much easier. We really don't have a recruiting problem as much as we have a retention problem.
Yes.
So yeah,
But you know, can I
Go
ask a
ahead.
question quick? And I don't
Yeah.
know if you want me to ask it now or wait
No,
till
no, yeah.
later.
Yeah, we're informal. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, you know, we're a large club, and I'm going to do a talk on membership retention at our next meeting. But what I've noticed is everybody comes in, sits in the same seat, doesn't really talk to anybody else except that little group that they're around. And we are losing I know we're losing 2 of people this year because of that. The reason was nobody talks to us and nobody will sit with us. Everybody sits in the same spot. And I don't know how to change that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I mean that fits right in with this, because that, to me, that's one of the key roles of a sponsor, and we're going to talk
Yeah.
about that here a
Yeah.
little bit. So I think just retention in general, but especially for new members, yeah, this is geared for new members, but you're going to see applications, I think, for all retention of all members that'll be a part of this, and maybe it'll just jog a few. I don't think anything I'm going to go over is rocket science to anybody, but I think they're good reminders. So what I'd like to look at are just hopefully these are kind of the big questions I'd like to address in terms of this presentation. So why is this important? Orientation and mentoring. Why is that important for a new member? Orientation, meaning, of course, getting them acclimated to the organization so that they really understand the background of the organization, and mentoring, helping nurture them in their membership as a new Lion. And so what's your role as a sponsor in that orientation and mentoring? Where do you fit in, and in relation to that, as well as some other people in your club who can help? And then what information do they need to become a productive Lion? I'm just going to be sharing some ideas on that. And finally, just ending with some resources that you can go to, depending on your background and your knowledge of the Lions and the broader organization. You're very familiar with your own clubs, I think, but the broader organization, sometimes it's good to have resources to go to look for that. So those are kind of the questions that I wanted to base this presentation around. So let's look at why orientation and mentoring are important. You know, you are trying essentially here as your new member sponsor to support them and guide them in learning and becoming a good Lion. This is all about making your new member feel welcome, informed, and comfortable as a member of the club. And like you say, Patty, right there, if nobody's sitting with them or engaging with the new member, it's just not gonna they're not gonna stick around very long.
Right.
You have to have that. So it's really critical that you as the sponsor take on that role of make sure that
Yeah.
they're with somebody. You know, it can be you, and maybe you go from place to place and, you know, insert yourself in there.
Yeah, I do try to.
Yeah. But then, like, you were president last year or this year?
No, I'm first vice president this year.
First vice president. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, that can present its own difficulty depending on, you know, if you have something going on and, you know, to get around. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I do. So it's your responsibility though to engage them, help them connect with members of the club. And that click thing is a tough thing. And
It is.
maybe it's a discussion, but it's also broader than just you as the sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
That's a concern depending, and I think your club has a pretty strong committee system or whatever, but
Yes.
I think
Yes, we
that's an
do.
issue to talk about with your membership committee and your membership chair and say, you know, well, here, I know we're losing these two members for this reason, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's happening to them, it might be happening to others, you know.
Right.
So that's the kind of thing that as a committee, they need to discuss and maybe come up with some strategies for mixing it up somehow, so that it isn't always the same cliques sitting together. I see that both ways because a lot of people are uncomfortable if they have to move out of those cliques.
I
And so
know.
that can be a turnoff for them as well. But you know, if you can prompt some people to help and make sure that they connect, it may sound a little bit forced or whatever, but
Yeah.
ahead of
I
the
was
meeting, look, yeah, can you, how about you know, coming over and sitting with us, or can we sit down with you that kind of thing?
Yeah, when I talk about it at our next meeting, I was going to say, you know, like people have even said to me, I don't know half the people in this room. And what I was going to say was if you don't know somebody, go introduce yourself.
Right.
Ask them to sit with you know, just so we can get to know each other.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And another thing, I don't know, and I'm just brainstorming right now, but this is kind of
Mhm.
like, you know, do the new members when they come in have an opportunity to just talk to the club and just introduce themselves to the club?
Yeah.
A bit
Yeah,
what?
what we do is the sponsor will stand up and introduce them. And then this year, our president has started a little getting to know you initiative where
Yeah.
she'll hand out 5 cards with 5 questions just to random people. And they stand up and answer the questions and just so we can get to know each other and find out a little bit more about each other.
Right. Yep. I like that. And maybe if it's not even for the whole meeting, maybe if there's an activity that you did as part of the meeting that forced people to mingle a little bit.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. There's any number of places probably online that you can go. If you look under icebreakers,
Yes.
that kind
Okay.
of thing, you might
Yeah,
be able
that's
to
a good
find
idea.
an activity that would help that way.
Okay.
All right. Um, So again, you want to engage them, you want them to connect. They need to become familiar with the people in the club and find a level of comfort in there. That's part of your role, helping them feel that familiarity and comfort. And then develop a knowledge base about, particularly at first with your club, and then the broader Lions organization. We're going to talk about that a little bit. So that's really key to membership retention and also growing the new leaders in your club, because that's part of the reason that you want to bring people in. Doug and I had a brief discussion about who we bring today, about who we bring into the club, and even people the people you invite, if you're not careful, that's probably the very first thing when you say, Doug, about
Yes. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
go ahead, you want to
We've had sponsors that have invited members that probably never should have been invited, for different reasons. And they just don't work out. They don't have the time commitment, or they don't have the financial commitment, or whatever it may be. But we've talked about that, and this is going to be helpful to give them a little bit more guidance too. Is this something, Dennis, that you can email out then
Yes,
to us?
yes,
Okay. Okay.
I can. So yeah, I think a new member, when you're looking at a potential new member, you're looking at somebody who has that service orientation, and making sure that they understand that that's the primary thing. There will be opportunities to socialize, there will be things like that, but at its heart, if you're joining this club, you should be doing it because of the service aspect, that's important to you. And so that does require a certain amount of time and, potentially resources, whether it's your capabilities, skills, or financial commitment kinds of things too, and making all that clear. But if you pick the right people, hopefully you're identifying people who show some leadership skills too, because that's, I think, one of the hardest things for us right now in all of our clubs is getting people to step up and take leadership roles. So be on the lookout for those kinds of people. At least in our club, that's an issue. Doug, I know that's an issue in your club.
Yeah, that's a big issue in our club.
Yeah. So
That's
Mechanicsburg,
an
I think
issue
you're
in
doing a
all
good job
clubs.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ray, did you say something?
I said that's an issue in all clubs.
Yeah. It seems more and more so. Yeah, there are people who come out and volunteer their time, but who's going to move the ball to get that all set up and organized? That's the big question. So, but I think by sharing your devotion to service helps ensure that a healthy with the new person you're bringing on, you're modeling that devotion to service, and that helps ensure a healthy future for your club if you can model that. As far as the sponsor's role, it carries some responsibilities beyond just the recruiting of the new member. You're going to help transition your new member into your club and help ensure that their membership gets off to a great start. So as far as that goes, specifically things that you can do here, you want to introduce, and these are all kind of in if you had a traditional induction ceremony for your new members, these things are listed in there in that ceremony. You want to introduce your new member around to all the Lions. That's not as hard in a club of my size and Doug's size and Ray's size as it is a club of your size, Patty, when you've got what are you up to? You're somewhere between 90 and 100 members now, I
We're
believe.
95.
So it's going to take time to get around
Yeah.
to that. But finding the group that they fit in with, and probably in your case, I know a lot of your members are devoted to one project, one or two projects.
Yes.
Just connecting them with a project that's really of interest to them. Hopefully that's part of what brought them into the club in the first place, was an initiative that your club's doing. But that's a good way to get them started. So that's what goes right to this one, with involving in a club activity immediately. You can't wait around and just have them coming to meetings. Find that place or something that they can latch on to right away, an upcoming event. And I think that's why in the recruitment strategy, a lot of people or a lot of clubs or a lot of advice we get from the international is engage somebody as a prospective member at a club activity. So your friends or whatever who you know they're really passionate about something, an environmental issue, or they're really passionate about feeding the hungry or something like that. And whatever your club does with that, invite them to help with that. I know that's helped bring in new members in different places. Even helping with a fundraiser. In our case, we have a food stand at the Apple Harvest Festival and the South Mountain Fair, and so people will come and help us. We volunteers help man our staff, and we're able to talk to them a little bit about our club and what we do, and that gets their interest. Make sure that you go with your new member to those first meetings and events that your club has, that you're there to be a support person for them. And then, of course, answer their questions as best you can, or at least know where to go to find those answers. So you want to grow their knowledge base, which might require you to grow your knowledge base. And then encourage them to share ideas that they have and also talk to you about the concerns. So yeah, like Patty, those people, I'm glad you were able to approach those two and say, and find that was the reason that
Yeah,
that they're there. So maybe if that can give you some guidance, and hopefully maybe it's early enough that you can engage them somehow before, or I don't know,
yeah.
too late or not.
Well,
So,
they've stopped coming to meetings altogether.
oh, okay. And how long ago did they join?
Last year.
Last year. So they've been about a
Mhm.
year or,
Yeah,
yeah, that'll be unfortunate. That'll be unfortunate.
yeah,
But maybe there's well, if there's something that you know that would be really interesting to them or something at the next meeting or something, or I don't know. That's tough once they've stopped coming to meetings already.
yeah,
Although, yeah, and if you know that's the reason, yeah,
yeah. They said that was the reason.
yeah. So, do you know what drew them in the first place? Was there?
I don't. No, I don't.
Yeah,
Apparently, it's a couple, and apparently, he had been sending Ted, our secretary, I think you guys know him,
yeah.
um, emails for a few years, but never would show up to the open house, and then did, 2 years ago or a year and a half ago.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, that's
So I
something
don't
maybe to
know.
talk about with the sponsor of those two, and say, well, you know what drew them in the first place? Can we
Yeah,
re-engage them that way and then do a better job at encouraging them to come back to meetings and make them feel more comfortable?
yeah.
So, but yeah, those are some ideas as far as the sponsor. And then it's not up to you entirely either. Your membership team, either the chairperson, well, particularly the chairperson, can be the driver of some of these things. But you want to have a proper induction ceremony. And I know all of you, all the clubs here. And by the way, we're talking about I'm Arntsville, but Vice District Governor Ray and his wife Lisa, who are on, are Carlisle, and Patty is Mechanicsburg, and Doug is Fairfield. We've got the whole region covered here.
Yeah,
Or
I think I met
counties.
Ray at Beacon Lodge.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Good, buddy.
Hi.
Plus, I was up to your club this year when the governor came in, and so was my
Yes.
wife,
Yes, you were.
and
yeah.
Lisa was also.
Yep, I remember.
So I know you all do a proper induction ceremony. You have somebody come in and make sure the people are inducted with uh, and hand out the membership kits and
Hmm.
the items that come with that. And some of your clubs may have a tradition. Some clubs have a pin. Some people give them a vest. Some have hats. Whatever your club does. And then developing and providing orientation materials can be a very helpful thing. So that you have
Uh-oh.
something concrete to give those members about your club, even if it's your club brochure, something that they can that'll help familiarize them with that. And I know Mechanicsburg has a very extensive packet
There we go.
that they have put together. All right.
Yeah, we do.
So I'm going to show that in just a minute, because last year when we put this presentation together, we just Ted had shared that information with us. Ted is the secretary at Mechanicsburg Club.
Ted is amazing.
So some of the information though that you want to be able to share with your club or with your new person, it's just general information, general knowledge of Lions, who we are as an organization. You're going to know the most about your club specifically and what your club does for the community, but also just some of the traditions of your club and how your club operates, how your club is structured. That information, that's some things you can do. And then outside of your club, some information about the district and the multiple district, as well as Lions International in general. So number 3 and 4, you may not as a sponsor be as familiar with those aspects of Lionism, but we cover that in a new member orientation that the district provides in this format, a Zoom meeting. And that is actually going to be next week. And so if your member had joined since January 1st of this year, and we have an email address on file for them, they should have received information about next Thursday
Okay.
new member orientation. Last time I looked, there were only 3 people signed up for that. And so, I would strongly encourage you to make contact with those new members and say, hey,
Yeah.
you might want to
And when
tune
is
in
it next
there.
week?
Yeah, next Thursday at 7. Yep, a
Okay.
week from today at 7.
Okay.
Um, but anyways, these are the 4 general categories of information. So I want to look at each of them a little bit more, in a little bit more detail. And again, you as the sponsor, as well as your membership chair and the district, we all play a role in putting this together. So in terms of who Lions are, some of the things I think the big things are to familiarize them with our global service initiatives of Lions International. And we're up to 9 of them now, which seems a little bit overwhelming. We went from 5 to 8 to 9, but I guess we're getting our act together. And I guess that's good in the sense that it does give us more chances to find a place for people to fit in if your club, depending on how many of those initiatives your club is engaged with. So let's see if I can remember all 9. We've got hunger, we've got environment, diabetes, vision, disaster relief, youth, humanitarian service. The newest one is mental health and awareness. How many did I get there?
You missed childhood
I missed.
cancer.
Childhood cancer. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. So those you can find pretty easily in on the homepage of the website as to what those initiatives are. And your clubs are, I know all of your clubs are engaged in several of those, if not all of them, but I know some clubs really lean heavily into 1 or 2 of those. Knowing the origin story of how our organization was found in 1917, or officially formed in 1917, through the efforts of Melvin Jones, who was the first, I guess, general secretary or secretary of Lions. And then sort of like the timeline of events, some things like Helen Keller in the 1925 convention encouraging us to become Knights of the Blind, and that's how our work to support people who are blind or have visual impairments came about. The work of our International Foundation, the charitable giving part of our of our organization. And that ties really well in with number one, because the giving that the foundation does centers around those global initiatives pretty much. And that we are the largest service organization at 1.4 million, trying to get to 1.5 million members with Mission 1.5. For your club, the things that you want to focus on, some of the things you want to focus on are the club's history and traditions, your structure, particularly what are your service projects and your fundraisers, and I guess differentiating between a service project and a fundraiser. Sometimes there's overlap because sometimes you're doing a fundraiser for a particular cause, but a lot of our clubs, they just do a general fundraiser, goes into their project account, and then they use that to fund a variety of projects. So a service, I always try to differentiate a service project from a fundraiser so that we don't mix the two up. Let's see, who your membership is, just becoming familiar with the people in their club and, helping them understand, this is our retired people. These people are, what they did in their work life or things like that, what your meeting schedule is, what your dues structure are. A lot of these things should probably be gone over ahead of time before they actually become members or decide membership. I know that's one thing. The Susquehanna Lions Club in York County, they do a very good job of going over this kind of stuff prior to the person signing on for a member application. They make sure that they know a lot of this stuff up front so that the person knows what they're getting into. And Doug kind of alluded to that too, that helps whether the member is a good fit for the club. So dues are always a big issue. But I think when people understand that we use our dues for the administrative costs and we don't use our fundraising dollars to fund our own club activities, I think that helps people understand better. What kinds of awards and recognition does your club do? What does your budget look like? How much do you bring in as far as fundraising, and what do you do with the funds? Constitution, bylaws, and your policies. Hopefully you can provide a copy of that, or especially your local policies within that. And how does your club communicate? Is it mostly through email? How they get hooked into your Facebook page, your social media communications? So those are things that you need to cover. So you can see here, these are the kinds of things that are in the Mechanicsburg new member packet. They have a whole thing. Ted has all together. And so if you're looking for something, that's something that I'm sure he would share. He updates it every year, if I understand correctly. And the welcome to Mechanicsburg Lions Club is basically just a welcome letter that's in there. And then they put together their club calendar for the year, I guess. Patty,
Yeah.
that go out to all members probably in July or something like that? Yeah. So who's on the committees, what the committees are, so people can see. And then that's helpful for you as a sponsor too, to show that, well, here are the committees. Where do you see yourself fitting in? And then a new member can be assigned to enhance one of those committees. How the club works, I think, is just some basic information about how your general processes and club meetings and that kind of thing. The big organization refers to Lions International, so the broader Lions. Who your officers are, but I guess also how you run your elections and when they are, that kind of thing. And then the club funds would cover that sort of that budget aspect. So that's just one example, and it's a lot of work to put that together. But once it's together, I think it's pretty it's not too hard to update and maintain after that, and it's a good resource to have.
Dennis,
Yeah,
one of the things that Carlisle does is we have a directory we do every year. And in that directory, it's first of all, it's pocket size. It's pocket size. But in
Right.
that directory, it has all the contact information. I don't know if you'd be able to read that or not. It's probably pretty small. But the club overview, the district overview, the president's message, the goals, officers, both the board members and the appointed committees, district officers, multi-district and international officers, forum and convention dates, a full calendar in the middle of it that lays out everything, and it's color coded. The calendar is so that they can tell what's a club thing and what's a district.
uh-huh,
And then it goes on down with club directory, and plus then it gets into the past Lions of the Year, distinguished awards, charter and life members, past presidents, and then gets into if we've lost anybody in the following year. But the other thing about it that we put in it is on the back has the mottos and all that. And you'll hear, I think it's Doug talks about it, the Lions Code of Ethics. That's on the front inside cover.
yeah,
And we give this is done up every year for the new president. And then handed out. We give this to new members. So we kind of kill two things at one time. We make the directory
Yeah.
for all the regular members, but then when we get a new member, it answers a lot of questions.
yeah, ton of information. I think booklets like that were, I don't know if it's just my impression, but that was very common
Mhm.
years ago among clubs, and has not continued in a lot of clubs. But I know your club does that. Upper Adams Lions Club does that.
I have these that go back over 40 years. Behind me.
Yeah, so there are a few clubs who do them, so you would have some models if that was something you wanted to put together for your club as well. But you know, how your club does it, having that kind of background to hand out is, yeah, I think a new member finds that, you know, if they want to learn about the other members of the club or whatever, seeing some of that history is a nice way to, that's a nice way to put that together, and these are just helpful things to have. As far as the district and the multiple district, these are some of the things that that will be covered in the training next week, or the Zoom meeting next week with new members. So they'll look at the organizational structure, you know, that we have all our clubs are organized into groups by zones, and then the next level out then is the district level, and then the multiple district is, for us, is Pennsylvania, all the Lions clubs in Pennsylvania. And then it even goes out to constitutional areas, which I didn't put there, and then the worldwide organization. So and then officers within that are the zone chairs, the district governor, the council chair. So we cover that. We cover the conventions that are held at both the district and the state level, as well as the international convention. Some of the ways that we communicate at a broader level. Some of the zones, like Vice District Governor Ray's zone, they have a unique kind of committee there. Ray, do you want to talk about that for just a second? Your WCC.
Yeah, it's the Western Cumberland County Lions. What it is, it's 7 clubs within the zone that have their own meetings, and it's usually the people in that meeting are the presidents, but it's also a handful of people. It's the mover and shakers in the zone, and we come together and do 2 fundraisers a year, and then support projects that the clubs themselves can't afford. So when we get somebody that comes in that needs, we've had major ramp accomplishments. We've done lifts within a home for a family that had a disabled son. We've bought actually 2 cars, used ones. We've paid taxes on several places. We don't advertise some of them because there's so many tax things. We don't want people to but they're the type of events that we've done through the Western Cumberland County, bigger projects to help people.
So they have ongoing communication within that group, I think basically through email and
Well, we
correspondence.
do email, plus your zones normally meet once a quarter. The Western Cumberland County, that's now run by the zone chair, our Western Cumberland County meets monthly.
Okay. At the district level, your members should be getting their newsletters if they have an email. If they're not getting it, they may have inadvertently blocked, unsubscribed. And if that's the case, just let me know. I run the MailChimp or whatever thing, and they have to go in and resubscribe, but I can send messages to do that or instructions on how to do that. But hopefully within I go in and to the Lion portal, and I find new members who were entered into the system each month, and I update the email list in MailChimp. So within a month or two, they should be getting their district newsletter and correspondence from the district. And then the PA lines, once they're on, I don't know how long how often they update their mailing list, but the Lion Pride magazine, that's distributed through email now. That's no longer a paper copy that is mailed out. It used to be a paper copy mailed out, but well, maybe a year or two ago, they went to all digital on that. The key there, of course, is that your members have an email address, and we have a significant number of members who have not registered an email address. So that makes it difficult for communications be outside of your club level if they haven't provided an email address to your club secretary. As far as the Lions International, the umbrella organization, the parent organization, some of the history and traditions, how did we come up with the name Lions? Look at our logo, and looking to the past, but also to the future. By the way, Lions, I don't know if the Lions, if they came up with Lion first and then did the acronym, or did the acronym for the Lions. I don't know, but leadership, intelligence, our nation's, help me. No, liberty, intelligence, our nation's, what's the S? Yeah. I lost it.
I think
It's in your book probably, right?
I'm looking.
So then the structure, and internationalized conventions, and the headquarters being in Chicago, at least for the time being. We hope it stays there. So that's just some of the general broader information. And again, as far as district, multiple district, and Lions Club, some of that,
Safety.
those kinds of things.
It's
Our nation's
safety.
safety. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. I Googled it.
I'm glad it was there. There's a whole bunch of acronyms. Some of the Facebook groups for Lions or whatever, different ones. One question I saw one time was, what's your favorite thing for what Lions stands for? And there were a whole bunch of different ones that came across. So a lot of people were using different ones. So talk briefly about the Constitution, bylaws, and the difference, understanding the difference between LCI, which is Lions Club International, or LI, they're kind of going by now, Lions International, and LCIF, which is our foundation. So there's the organization with club, and then the charitable giving arm of that is the foundation. Just the same way that some clubs do that, and how LCIF benefits. You know, who are the officers, international president and international directors. The importance of the membership development, the communications that they have, the online learning opportunities, which there are multiple ones. So a lot of that information for Lions International, the website has a ton of information, if you can navigate to it. A lot of times it's easier just to do a Google search than to search at the Lions website, but that has gotten somewhat better over the past couple of years. The district has a website, which Vice District Governor Ray just recently updated and did some major work on, and it's looking really good right now with that. And that you can find different information there. Lions International has a ton of brochures available on their resources page. The Lion magazine, again, we do get a print copy of that occasionally. I forget if it's twice a year, maybe. But then there's other ones that come out in digital form. There's multiple, well, there's an official Lions Club International Facebook page, but I think there's also one for the foundation, and there's a bunch of informal ones. And of course, many clubs have their pages. The Lion Portal is the information system that, or where your club secretaries and enter information, but it is available to everybody. Everybody can set up a Lion Portal account. They can manage their own personal information there. So if they want to change their email address, they can do it on their own, or a phone number, that kind of thing. The club secretary doesn't have to do that. But they can also see information about their club, who their members are. It's a way for them to go in and see their own club members' contact information if they need it, to see what the service activities are and how many hours of service have been posted and that kind of thing. Lions Learning Center is accessed through the Lion Portal. There's a tab on that says Learn, which has just been updated, I think just this week or I think it was just this week, and I haven't actually been in to see how that's been changed, but there's any number of courses in there that you can take on leadership, as well as different aspects of leadership, like conflict resolution or setting up a meeting agenda, those kinds of things. So they're kind of like self-study types of seminars. They just walk you through. And then Lions University is a function of the USA Canada Lions Forum, and that they have a little bit more intensive courses, a little more detailed, I would say. Lion or Ray, would you agree with that?
Yes. They have it's set up similar to like a college course. You know, if you're going after a degree, they have a set of courses that are required, and then they have a whole set of courses where you pick, 5 or 6 out of it for the bachelor's and 7 and 8 for the master's. And then the doctorates is a whole different curriculum. But yeah, it's real good information on how to do A to Z when it comes to Lions.
Yeah. Looks like I have this link. That I don't know if I'll get myself in trouble here with going back, but let's see if I can link to Lions University here. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So if you go to the homepage, you do have to set up an account with that. And doesn't look like.
If you click up at the top, you should be able to show like the bachelor's, the different.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yep.
Yeah. And then if you go down the page, you'll see like the top ones there, or the required courses, and the bottom ones, you pick 5 selectives for your bachelor's.
Yeah. So these are all
And-
topics that are covered with them. And what do they take, Ray? Maybe somewhere between 30 to 60 minutes?
Roughly, they average the videos about an hour.
Okay.
Didn't hear me say this, but there's about 10 minutes at the beginning and 10 minutes at the end that really don't matter. But the key thing is the bachelor's is geared more toward the club level. And when you get into the master's, it gets into the district international level.
So for a new member or just for your own edification, any of these topics that look of interest, you don't have to work towards a degree, but you're registered in and it'll keep track. And if you fulfill those requirements, you can go to a forum, which is held annually, usually in September. And the next one coming up, I'd have to look at
Memphis,
that.
Tennessee.
Memphis, that's right.
It is the
Memphis.
50th anniversary.
Yeah. So most of them are in the United States, but occasionally they're in Canada also.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's a great 3-day training. It starts on a Thursday, includes four meals, 4 banquet meals with great speakers. The international president is almost always there for one of the meals and speaks at one of the meals. Motivational speakers that are just great. And then they have seminars throughout that are, I think usually 75-minute blocks. And these are the kinds of topics that they cover, a lot of the things that are in here. So yeah, you can earn it's not a college accredited bachelor's degree, but it's a Lions bachelor's degree and a Lions master's degree. As Ray said, this is more when you get to the district level, that kind of thing. But these are practical things especially if you have members who are still working and need continuing education credits. These are probably things that they could, some of these things they could get approved as continuing education credits for their work.
Hmm.
So I think that's something we can offer them with that. Okay, let's see. Now this is where I'm going to have a fun time trying to figure out how to get back to.
I didn't know if you wanted to click on the master, or you are in the masters
Oh,
right now. Okay, I see
That
you're
is the masters. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I think that was the last slide I had anyway. Oh, no, I did have additional suggestions.
Yeah, when they give you a diploma, they give you a pen that goes with it too. That says you've gotten your degree. Lisa and I got our bachelor's this past form.
How to do that. I have to figure out a way here to get back to my other screen.
If you hit your share again, you should be able to change screens through your share, I think. There you go.
That one to my back there. So here, okay. I think here we go. Zoom screen. Oh, that's my desktop. I'm not sure where my slideshow is. There it is. Okay. All right. So yeah, I just had one other, just a couple other things that may help over the course of the first year, especially to build the knowledge base for your new member. So invite them to stay for a club board meeting so that they see what happens with that. Your board meeting should be open to all members anyways, so but encourage them to do that. We talked about assigning to the committees and give them something to do, encourage them to invite a friend to meeting, because I know my wife was a band director down here, and she always said the easiest way to lose a band member was if their friends quit. If your friend quits, they quit. So, and the opposite happened too. If you bring your friend in, you're more likely to stay if you have a friend there. So that can always help too. And then at some point, maybe go to advisory meeting. That's a zone meeting, or take them to one of the district cabinet meetings just to see how things are run there. And then district convention it's a 1-day thing, and that's that's informative. That's a nice way to see see the organization that, or if the state convention's close by, go to state convention, for that. That's usually a multiple day, affair in May.
Dennis.
Yeah.
The other thing that you can look at them is there's the Proud Lion Award also, that there's a little medal they give out. And if your new member attends a board meeting and visits another club, participates in club projects, attends a zone, regional, or district function, and then what is it, invite, approved, proposed candidate to the club, in other words, a guest, they get this Proud Lion Award that's the state has, and they're kind of nice.
Uh-huh.
Kind of an incentive to keep people, getting them involved in stuff.
And that's something you submit to the state, or request from the state, correct?
You can just go up to the state store and buy the pens and stuff, and your club can award them.
And
Oh, okay. All right.
they have a little checkoff list.
Yeah, they have a checkoff list when you buy the pens and stuff.
Uh-huh.
That your club president is supposed to sign off, say that it was accomplished,
There's-
or
Okay.
president or secretary. I was just told.
Yeah, that is a nice kind of recognition with that. So that's just, those are my suggestions. Any comments, questions, ideas that you've done? Because like I said, both of you are good recruiters and have mentored or sponsored a lot of Lions. So anything you want to add to the conversation would be more than welcome. No? No wisdom?
You did a
Come
good
on.
job.
All right. So I'm going to send you the slides. And I think I have information about that Proud Lion thing. If not, Ray, I'll ask you to forward it to me.
That's fine. Thank you.
Anything else?
Past Governor Galen also had it in our newsletter. It was in his thing that in the this month.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, in the October one. But now I've got to figure out why October is showing up when I come in here and looked at this when it's supposed to be November. I gotta figure that out here in a minute.
Oh, boy. All right. Yeah, if nothing else, thanks again.
Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you. Thanks,
bet.
Dennis.
Yep. Hope you have a good evening.
You too.
You
Thank
too.
you.
All
Thank you,
right,
sir.
Take care.
You.
You bet. Good night.
Good night.
Right.